Yo, what's happening, live stream crew? It's your boy Offbeat, live in the hot seat. That's my intro that I do. It's new.
Yeah.
And this is
like that.
Yeah, it's good. This is my friend Simi.
Ah.
And we are in London today, aren't we? We've come here for the last couple of days. And as I said on my last stream, I'm doing a stream today because I couldn't do one yesterday because we were at, weren't we?
Oh no, we went to a jazz night yesterday.
Don't tell them that. We went at. No, we did go to
big night.
Yeah, massive.
Heavy.
Definitely weren't back home by midnight. No, we did go to a jazz night, and it was actually it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
It was.
Yeah. Not as good as the night before. Ramesh. Yeah. So that's the main reason we came was to go and see Ramesh Ranganathan, the stand-up comic, which was amazing.
Highly recommended.
Absolutely wicked, yeah. And like because he's got a show on Prime, like a stand-up special on Amazon Prime, hasn't he? Have you seen that one?
No.
No. Should watch that one before.
I appreciated it live.
Yeah.
Much better.
Had you heard of him before we went?
Yes.
But yeah, this one, the show we went to see, I don't know if they'll make that into a special because it's pretty offensive, isn't it? I can't really see that one being on like Prime or Netflix.
No,
some of the jokes are like properly bang out of order, but in a brilliant way.
In a really good way. Yeah. And I enjoyed all the like hip hop as well.
Yeah.
Before the show.
Yeah. So he's
good.
obviously really into hip hop, and he's got his podcast, Hip Hop Saved My Life, and so we got to the show about half an hour before it started. Sipping a cheeky little cider that cost like £8.
Cheap.
Yeah.
Shot of cider.
Yeah, literally. But they were just playing like banging hip hop tunes for about half an hour, and we were just vibing in our seat.
It was really
embarrassing the couple next to us.
And everyone else was just like,
yeah.
We were just
like shocking out. It was great. Anywho,
casual.
Yeah, that's why we're in London, and that's why the stream is today instead of Friday, because I normally do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I said on Wednesday that I'd do it on Saturday, and it's Saturday. Actually, for the first time.
I've been thinking it was Saturday for the past 3 days.
Yeah.
So I'm having time off.
Yeah,
it's great.
but now you're actually correct. So that's for the first time. So that is why we are here. And I thought it'd be fun to do a stream on a Saturday morning because I think it might be a slightly different like audience than I normally get because doing it on weeknights I probably get the like after work crowd. And Saturday morning, who knows? Who knows who we'll get? I can see there's 7 people watching at the moment. Sup, 7 people.
Hey.
Musket23 says, good day, Musket23. And good day to the remaining 6 people. Just went down to 6 now. But one of the other reasons I wanted to do a stream with Simi is because she's a very inspirational figure. She's a very good friend of mine, and we met it's a year ago, isn't it?
It was just shy of.
Was it? When was it? Because it was in March last year, wasn't it?
April.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It feels like a long time.
Feels like way longer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it feels like a lifetime. But we met at a event called Millionaire Mind, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Which sounds ridiculous, and like in fairness, there are elements of it which are a bit ridiculous. But it was a really good event, and it was all about like mindset and money, and how people have limiting beliefs around money, and how that affects how they behave with their money. And obviously with my song Hole in My Pocket, I've clearly got a bit of work to do on that. So I went along to that event and met Simi, and we just clicked straight away. I think partly because we were like the only 2 people who had like pretty dark senses of humour. I think with those sorts of events, it's great to meet people who are like really positive and like personal development people often are like really positive. You're like, yeah, great energy. And then after a while, you're just like, oh, I just want to tell like a really out of order joke, and I can't do it here.
You can have high energy and just be real.
Yeah.
Like I think one of my opening gambits was just don't be a dick. Generally.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's my life motto.
Yeah.
Easy. We're live.
But yeah. Anyway, we got on really well and stayed in touch ever since. And so we've met up this weekend to catch up and to check out Ramesh and to do this live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but one of the reasons I say Simi is an inspirational figure is because she is doing something similar to me in the sense that she is basically like following her dream and trying to turn her passion into a profession. So, do you want to tell them a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think when it comes to passion, I think people put a lot of weight on that and what it is. And if I'm completely honest, like I don't think I grew up thinking, oh, I know exactly what I want to do and stuff. And it's kind of sort of evolved over time. So I just knew, I studied psychology and knew I really wanted to help people. And as time's gone on, I've realised like I really want to support women, women who kind of want to move forward in their careers, who have maybe mindset struggles, who have health issues and so on. And so I'm training as a life coach at the moment, alongside working full time.
Full time.
Yeah. And I think I'd had this idea of like what I wanted to do, and it hadn't been fully formed. And then I went to Millionaire Mind and like other events and stuff, and just through kind of changing my thinking and believing, do you know what, it's possible, I can do it. At first I was like, I don't have the time, the usual stuff that people say, I don't have the time, or I'll do it, but I'll do it later. And and I was thinking about this for since 2016, and here we are now, like 2019, I actually got going with it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I did. Like in a few months, it's like
What was the thing? What was the tipping point for you? Because I can remember the exact moment that I made the decision to go for it. Because I stopped making music for like 10 years. I sort of did music from the age of about 15 to about 20, basically. And then when I left home, like real life got in the way. And the longer you leave something, the harder it gets. And before I knew it, like 6 months had passed, then a year had passed, then 2 years had passed, then 10 years had passed. And I remember the exact moment where I made the decision to pick it back up. But was there a moment for you where you decided, I'm going to go for this?
So actually for me, it was probably a little bit different. I think there's one way, which is kind of like the moment, the aha moment, the life-changing moment where it's like, do you know what, something's got to change.
Yeah.
And I don't think I had that. I think for me it was a bit more gradual. I think that, I knew I wanted to do something different than what I was doing, because I'd reached a point in like my job where I was kind of like, oh, like I've reached where I wanted to get to, and what else? So there was more in me, and I was changing, and I felt like I needed something new and a new challenge. So I kind of just started exploring, and I think that's kind of okay. And started asking questions. I knew I wanted to kind of help people in some way, and generate like more wealth for myself, but I didn't know how I was going to do it necessarily. So I just explored a few options and speaking to different people, and then having coaches myself, I was just like, this is really powerful, and I think this is something that I want to deliver.
Do for other people.
And I think the dots just started to join because, throughout my life I've spoken to people or helped people, just had that intuition, I suppose, and I always thought that was a negative. I always kind of just spotted things, like I just noticed, like if something wasn't quite right, I just noticed stuff, and I always just kind of took that for granted. But actually, like in my life, when I've noticed things and then I've kind of reached out and like had a conversation or helped someone out, like it's amazing. Like even if it's a few months or years down the line, someone saying that really helped, and I was like, that really touched me. That was lovely.
You don't realise what impact you have on people sometimes, and like I have. In fact, I literally got a comment this morning on a YouTube video from someone saying that they listen to my music, and like there's a song that I released called Day Job, which is all about like kind of not necessarily following your dream, but like starting your own business, not relying on a full-time job. And someone messaged or commented literally this morning saying like that song like really spoke to me, and I was having a tough time with my job, and I actually left even though everyone said I shouldn't, and I'm much happier as a result of it. And you just don't know that like that.
How did that make you feel?
Wicked, like. But it's funny because you assume that if someone has that reaction to something you've said, that they would tell you, but they don't necessarily. So you don't always know when you've had that impact on people, and then it's like years later when they tell you, and you're just like, shit.
Because maybe they don't even know at the time. Because it's like a domino effect.
True.
A conversation can trigger something that can trigger something else. It can trigger a thought. It can trigger an action. It can trigger a series of other things.
That's true.
And then kind of connecting the dots back, it's like, do you know what? That was really helpful.
That's true. Yeah, for sure.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, definitely. So, just take a quick sec to look at these comments. In fact, I'm going to chuck the comments up on the screen. Just whack them there. No. So we've got Octave says hello, and he says, you just clicked straight away. How fitting. Yes, so Just Clicked is one of my songs.
Ah.
Yeah. You wouldn't know I actually hate my music.
I'm going to listen to that song now, though.
Yeah. That's it, actually, for comments. And Musket says, good day. So anyone else who is watching, I can see there's 11 people locked in at the moment. So hello to you guys out there. If you want to drop any comments, we will respond to those again. I'm going to turn the comments off again temporarily. Musket says, the chat's kind of dead, isn't it? I think people are just paying attention at the moment. And also it was off the screen, so maybe they think we're not going to respond to it. So we will respond to it intermittently, but I want to just kind of focus on the conversation for now, and then we'll come back to the comments. But if you've got anything to say in the meantime or any questions, drop them in the comments box and we will respond to them shortly. That's coming off temporarily. There we go. So what advice would you give to someone who maybe wants to like pursue their passion or their dream, but they don't know where to start? Like what advice would you give yourself back before you knew you wanted to do coaching?
I think actually potentially just replace passion. I think that can scare people because they kind of think, oh, I don't have a thing. Some people do, and that's great, and some people don't. I think if you don't, I think you can kind of just start with, you know, what do I enjoy doing? How do I want to make others feel? Like, do you want to help people? Are you creative? You know, do you enjoy working with numbers? Like, are you good at like making things? Like, what are the things like your, interests, hobbies, skills, stuff that you enjoy, and kind of start there and realise, and you don't have to kind of just look for jobs or things that already exist. You can actually start to figure out what you enjoy. You kind of get creative with what you can do. So start the other way around, like flip it, rather than looking at what's out there and kind of, I suppose, traditionally just picking like a career or something that you can do that already exists. Start the other way around and think about what you enjoy, what you're interested in, and then try and kind of connect the dots and see what you can create. You know, start speaking to people, get yourself in different environments. You know, explore different things, try different things, and sometimes it's just starting that process. You know, it might not be a linear line. It might just kind of be like this, but you'll find your way with it. And enjoy it. Enjoy that as well.
And do you think you can turn anything that you love into like a career or profession if you want to? Yeah? And do you think that's easier now because of things like, because there's like YouTubers who make a living out of reviewing like toys and stuff like that. Like, do you think now is the best time to be doing that sort of thing?
Definitely.
Yeah?
It's the perfect time to be doing. Like, I guess with everything online and being able to reach people like, we are now, people can do whatever. They can talk to whoever. They can connect with the entire world. Even if you've got an idea and you think it's really, really niche, but you enjoy it, there's someone else out there who does and can relate to that. Yeah. And there's ways of monetizing that as well.
I think that's the niche bit is important because whilst it's great that we've got access to the entire world through the internet, at the same time that we've got the entire world as competition as well, because the rest of the world has that. So like, for example, when I post a video on YouTube, like in some ways it's good because I'm reaching an audience I never would have been able to reach before, but also I'm competing with every other video on YouTube, and like you can just get lost in like the swamp. So I think like the niche thing is important because the more specific you are, then you'll have fewer people who like what you do, but they'll be more into what you do. And I think it's better to have a small number of like people who are like really into what you do than like a large number of people who are sort of indifferent, which is the difference between like someone doing what I do music wise and like a pop star. Like the majority of people that like pop stars, I would suggest, aren't that passionate about their music. A lot of the time it's more because they're just exposed to them a lot because they see them everywhere. So I think like probably wouldn't find that many people who are just like, oh god, like everything Ed Sheeran says just speaks to me on like a deep level. Maybe he's an exception actually, because he has actually got some fairly decent tunes and lyrics. But like a really like manufactured pop star, I think you'd struggle to find people that could like honestly say that. Whereas like an independent artist or creative person in general, people like feel they can connect to more, even if they've got a small audience.
Definitely, and also, it's kind of easier. Like if you're focusing on a niche, you can just go deep on that one thing rather than going wide and really shallow on a bunch of things. You can just become like the expert in that particular area, and also ask yourself if you would want it, or you would want that service, or you would want that product or that thing, like, then, you know, just market to yourself, because there's other people out there that are like you. You are your avatar for whatever it is you're trying to market. Yeah,
true. I think also it's interesting what you say about like the word passion as well, because like I think people throw that word around a lot.
I'm not comfortable with it.
Really?
Yeah. Like I like thinking about having kind of drive and hunger, and passion is all part of that. But you know, in my experience of speaking to people, there's a lot of people out there who just get freaked out and thrown sideways by that, because they're like, oh well, they think, you know, it throws up things in the mind of like, you know, I'm not particularly talented at anything, I don't know what my thing is. I've not had, but it kind of just throws things up for them. Whereas I think if you step back and you just kind of like just think, do you know what, like, what do I enjoy? Like,
and I think that's a good first step as well, because like most people, like, I don't know, this might be a bit of a generalisation, but I think most people don't like their jobs, in my experience. Like most people I've met that don't really like their jobs, and I worked in jobs for years that I didn't like. So even if like it's not something you're like passionate about, so say like your absolute passion is like wrestling, as in like WWE style wrestling, it's going to be difficult to go overnight to become like an influencer in wrestling and like talk about it on YouTube and build a following doing that. But even if you take one step towards that and start doing something that's even remotely related to it, that's better than just being in a job you hate, right?
Definitely.
You don't have to be like an overnight.
No, you don't. And like, I mean, I suppose if you're in a situation where obviously, you know, it's you're in a place where you just want to get away from it, and you know, you're trying to find solutions, then, you know, proximity is everything. You know, you could decide you want a career change and just, you know, volunteer in something linked to that, or offer your time, like work experience or whatever, even if it was just like a small portion of time a week, or, you know, go on, you know, social media channels like LinkedIn and find somebody who is in an area that you're interested in, and just be like, just reach out and be like, hey, you can grab a coffee and like chat things out. Like, from every small action, you know, that will take you a step closer to kind of understanding more about what's possible, what you can do, sparking some inspiration. Like that whole journey of exploration, I think, is really, really important. And also, I think even from wherever you are, because I've been, you know, in a role for 12 years, and before that, I've been in companies where, if I'm completely honest, I've looked at like senior people and just thought, I don't want to be you in this company. And the reason I stayed where I was, you know, at the moment, is because I kind of looked at some of the leadership team, kind of, you know what, I really respect you, like, and that was a good starting point. And I think also, even when things are difficult, I think finding your why in whatever bit you're contributing to. So, for example, if you're working with somebody else, you're line managing somebody, let's say, you know, there might be aspects of the role that you're just not enjoying, stretching out. But don't focus on those things. Like maybe just create your own kind of mini projects. And it sounds mad, but that kind of entrepreneurial thing of like, do you know what? Like, my focus is to kind of help this person just be better and enjoy their role better, and like make kind of mini projects that kind of have a bigger why within the role that you're doing, and focus your energies on that rather than all the negativity and stuff that might be around you, even if there's other people that are kind of
for sure
could bring you down.
I'm going to whack the chat up again for a sec. Boom. I think we might leave it up actually, just so people know that they can contribute, because it is a little bit quiet on the old chat front. But we have got Lee View is saying, oh, found you live. Damn, that's great. Sup, Lee View? Thank you, mate. I think Lee View is the guy, not the same guy who commented this morning, but another guy who commented this morning, possibly from Romania, saying that he heard my tune Peter Pan, and another song of mine that you can listen to.
Are we going to have a marathon session listening to music?
You're just going to listen to everything I've ever done. But saying it kind of like spoke to him and stuff, and said some lovely things. So thank you, Levy, if that was you, mate. And Musket says, good for you. And I'm not 100% sure what that's in relation to, but if it was something you said, then cool. And if it was something I said, thank you. So yeah. Where should we take this next? I think, I don't know. So I think it's also okay to change like what you are passionate about and what you want to do. Because for years, I really passionately wanted to be a graphic designer. not more than I wanted to be a rapper. That's fair to say. But when I left home at 20 and like entered the real world, excuse me, things like YouTube and stuff weren't even really well. I think they probably just about existed, but they certainly weren't like the behemoths that they are now. In these actual sort of like established ways of making a career. But I did really want to be a graphic designer, and I kind of like I didn't go to university. I did one term of it, and I thought it was a waste of time. To be fair, at least half the reason I like dropped out was because I just wanted to party all the time. Like I tell this story as I'm like, yeah, you know, it just wasn't like it wasn't inspiring enough, and like I was too driven and too motivated. They couldn't keep up with me. It was like 50% that, 50% I just wanted to get pissed and party. So I got like a string of really shitty jobs, like office jobs and like insurance companies and stuff. I hated, fucking hated. But I taught myself how to do graphic design in the meantime, like in my spare time, on like lynda.com, and I guess YouTube it must have been available at some point, so I watched some stuff on there as well. But like, yeah, lynda.com is where I learned most of it. But eventually, I sort of like built my portfolio up, doing free work and like low paid work for people just to get some experience.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Yeah.
Because obviously you were kind of in a learning environment. You're like, that's not for me. And then you went on lynda.com, whatever resource. You were still having to go through the learning process again. So what was different? What kind of drove you to learn from the different ones?
That's a good question. I think partly it's just me, and I'm like, I've got a problem with authority. So like when something is imposed on me, I'm going to challenge it, and I'm going to think there's a better way of doing this. Whereas when I make the decision to learn something, because I've made that, I mean, I made the decision to go to uni, to be honest. So that doesn't quite hold up. But the way the teachings were delivered at uni, I was just like, this is bullshit. Like, they're not teaching us what we need to get a job. This isn't vocational. This is like creative, and that's nice, but we're paying like a stupid amount of money to be here, and I don't think this is good value. Whereas with lynda.com, it was very specific. Like, I want to learn how to use Photoshop. Here's an online course about how to use Photoshop, and if I follow these steps, by the end of it, I'm going to come out knowing how to use Photoshop. And I didn't feel that way about university. So that was probably the big difference for me in terms of like it was way more laser focused and specific, and it had like outcomes that I knew in advance I was going to get, but also I'd made that decision. So personally, I didn't have any like rebellion against it because it was my own decision. And
what made you choose that as something to pursue?
Graphic design.
Yeah.
I've always been artistic. Even as a kid, like I always, if you asked me when I was a proper kid, like a 6, 7-year-old or something, what do you want to do when you grow up? I always said artist. And the older I got, the more I realised that, like, because I'm just not the starving artist type.
That's really interesting.
I'm artistic and I'm creative.
But you knew that as a kid.
Yeah, I think everyone knows what they want to do when they're kids.
But I think that's really interesting, though, isn't it? Because I feel like people have a sense, or they don't have anything blocking them when they're a kid.
Exactly.
Like anything's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
And I kind of agree. I think there's a core of us that doesn't necessarily change throughout our lifetime, but I think a load of stuff just piles on top
100%,
of it.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, over time, and then you kind of think, I can't do that.
I was having this conversation with Shah, the singer from Swing Hoppers, recently, and she was saying, well, not everyone like knows what they want to do when they're a kid. And I was like, well, not everyone does, but a lot of them do. What did you want to be when you were a kid? And she was like, a vet. And I was like, really? What, when you were a kid? And she was like, well, no, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a singer. And I was like, exactly. And now you're a singer. Like, so that proves my point. Exactly. Like, you start off knowing what you want to do, and then life gets in the way and tells you what you think you want to do. And then hopefully, as you get older, you learn what you really want to do, and it's usually the original thing.
Totally. That's, you know, I'm not particularly religious now, but when I was younger, I used to say this like little prayer out to the universe or whatever. I didn't call it the universe. That one. But I'd always be like, when I grow up, I just want to like help people in the world. I don't know how, but that felt like the core of me. I knew I just wanted to do something to somehow positively impact other people. And that, I studied psychology, and I kind of found my way like this with it. But I didn't know what that would look like, but that's kind of okay. I think you can kind of start with the a principle like that of like you know, I want to do something artistic or creative, or I want to help people, and just go with that. And you're right. I don't think, you know, I don't think the core of us does necessarily change. Actually.
Well, and also we don't know what like technical job opportunities exist on the kids. Like, like all I knew was I wanted to be an artist. Like I didn't know. I thought maybe you could just get a job going into like an artist studio and be like, I'd like to be a painter, please, and someone would give you a job as a painter. Obviously, it doesn't work like that. But as I got older, I was sort of like, the closest thing to that in a commercial sense is graphic design. Because I could be a painter, but that's going to be way more difficult to turn into a job. And at the time, I wasn't particularly business focused or entrepreneurial, so I wanted a job. I didn't want to like have to be an independent, starving artist and be discovered as a painter or sell my work. I just wanted a job, but doing something I enjoyed. So that's why I chose graphic design. I went down that route. But yeah, I taught myself how to do it all. I built up my portfolio. I knocked on doors. I eventually got a job, which was great, and it's a cool story. But after doing that for like five years or so, I started a business with my friend, still doing graphic design and that sort of thing. But because we'd started the business, what I think a lot of people don't realise when you start a business, and you've read the E-Myth, right? No? Read that. That's such a good book. Listen to my music and read that book. You've
mentioned that before, actually.
Yeah. It's an amazing book, and basically it says that like most people think that when you start a business, you just have to be really good at the thing your business is about. So if you start a graphic design business, you just need to be a really good graphic designer, and it will be a successful business. And that's not the case. Like, you need to be a successful graphic designer, and you need to be a successful business person, and they're two totally different things. And that's why a lot of people fail, is because business and whatever the thing the business is about are two totally separate things. And that's what I learned starting that business with my mate, because I was like, well, I want to get to do graphic design all day, just the stuff I want for clients, not for stupid bosses. It's going to be brilliant. And then I was like, wait, I'm spending almost all my time doing business stuff and like very little graphic design actually. But even though that was a wake-up call, it was also an introduction into that world, and I got more interested in it. So I then found it difficult to go back to just doing graphic design, because I like the business side of it as well. So I kind of started gradually changing more towards that, and then I've gone off in like all sorts of weird directions recently with property and other shit. But like, but my original point is that it's okay to change your mind. Like, just because you're passionate about something at one point.
Definitely.
I think every 10 years or so we change so much as people anyway. It's unlikely you're going to have the exact same passion.
We're always changing. Yeah. Everything's in a state of change. I remember studying philosophy of religion at A-level, and like they talk about Buddhism, and they talk about this, like how everything is a continuum. You know, a chair isn't just a chair; it's every minute it's changing. The atoms in the chair are changing. Everything's in flow, and I think that's really important, because I think people feel guilty, like they'll, you know, and I felt it before. You know, I've spent money doing something and then changed my mind and thought, oh, I wasted all that money, I wasted that time, but actually I didn't. I learned something, I took something from that experience, even if it was, do you know what, I know with certainty that that's not for me. That's okay. Cool. Cool.
It can be an expensive lesson though.
It can be, it can be. And obviously, you know, you want to, you know, try and do your due diligence and stuff like that. But I suppose don't feel that, you know, definitely don't put that guilt on yourself, you know, because I think, like, you know, it's quite common for a lot of people to kind of, you know, go through the education system and like think, oh, I'll do this, I'll get a job, I'll go to uni, or you know, do the usual routes, or they might even not have a clue and speak to parents or people who've been highly influential and think, well, that sounds sensible, and they've said do this, and you know, and do that, and that's okay, because it still builds your character and your understanding. Do you know what I mean? What you want, what you don't want. Learn. And you are changing all the time, as you say, and I think the important thing is just to have that awareness, and actually not to settle in anything as well, because that can always be worse.
You get stagnant
than the guilt of moving on and leaving something behind. I think what's worse is just kind of sitting in something and thinking, this isn't right.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I'm not going to do anything about it.
Being stuck doing something you don't like is bad. But even like sort of just staying where you are, even if it's what you enjoy, I still think it's important to keep like growing and challenging yourself and doing new things, even if you're comfortable. I think comfort is the death of creativity.
Ooh.
Yeah, deep, right? Should we have a look at some comments? See what people are saying. So the Romanian guy, leave you. Big up, man. Thank you. I enjoyed that comment earlier. He says, if college gives you a ton of student debt, unless it's a skill you seriously can't learn online, e.g. medicine, I'd say college actually can be quite a waste. On the other hand, if it's free, it's a nice place to go if you know exactly where you belong, if you don't know exactly where you belong in the world just yet. Yeah. And I agree with that. I think like it is, college is a cool place to go and hang out and meet people, but that's a very expensive way of doing it if that's all you're getting out of it. If it's free, yeah, awesome. But like, I definitely wouldn't recommend. And there are people who do it, who go to university for the experience. But I think fewer and fewer people do that now because it's so fucking expensive. Yeah. Like, was uni ever free at one point? I think it was, wasn't it?
It was at one point.
Yeah. And I know when I went, it was like it wasn't anywhere near as expensive as it is now, but it still cost money. It's one of the reasons I didn't stick around. Had it been completely free, maybe I would have done. But like, I think it's probably good that it isn't free because it probably does encourage that mentality. I don't know, but then at the same time, it's bad that it's not free because education should be accessible to everyone. But maybe there should be some screening thing where it's like, it is free, but you have to really, 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 really want to do it and mean it, and have some way of like qualifying that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Leaveview says the tax is about €750 per year. I don't. Is that in Romania? I don't know, man. It's definitely more than that. Yeah. How much is uni in the UK? It's like tens of thousands a year now, I think. It's mental. It's crazy. Should we open this up? There's only a few people watching, to be fair, but should we open this up to some questions? Because I need to shoot off very shortly because I've got to get the coach back to Bristol. It's my mate's birthday. So anyone watching, if you've got any questions, hit us up, drop us a comment, and let us know what you think. And in the meantime, I am going to do a little sales pitch, basically. So you can just no, all I was going to say was huge thank you to everyone who has signed up already for the early bird notification link for my album launch. I've been pushing the album launch for the last couple of days, basically saying that I'm going to be launching this new membership program on Friday the 20th of March, where basically I'm going to be making my next album on a membership basis. So £5 a month. I'm going to make one song a month, but I'm going to live stream every week at different stages of the process. So week 1, coming up with the lyrics. Week 1 coming up with the idea. Week 2 coming up with the lyrics. Week 3 coming up with the beat, and you can actually watch the beat being made with the producers on the screen with Wolfgang Law or Oddchat. And then week 4 coming to the studio with me and watch me record it. So do that 12 times, 1 year, 1 album, and that is the idea. And it's £5 a month, which is pretty much the cost of a cup of coffee, right?
Delicious.
Exactly. No, not delicious. Give me the money. Don't get a coffee. Give it to me. Sacrifice the coffee.
More delicious.
Exactly. Even more delicious, even though you don't listen to my music. But yeah, what I did say was I'm doing basically a bunch of bonuses for the people who sign up. The first 70 people who sign up to that program, I'm going to give away some amazing bonuses, and I'm going to tell you what those are on Monday, or at least start telling you what they are on Monday. And they are amazing. They're not things that you've seen or heard before. I really had to rack my brain to come up with some original stuff to give you guys that is different to anything I've ever given away before, and I definitely have done. So Monday I'm going to be explaining what that is. But I'm going to be giving away the link to sign up for that 24 hours early to anyone who signs up to the early birds notification. So the link for that is iamoffbeat.com/earlybirds. And I've had about 30 people sign up for that already. And like I say, those bonuses are only going to go to the first 70 people. So that's almost half already. So if you want to make sure you get, you can be like, that's not half. Yeah. If you want to make sure you are one of those first 70 people so that you get those bonuses, get on the early birds list. It's iamoffbeat.com/earlybirds. And I'm going to be sharing what those bonuses are on Monday. So
definitely show some love to this guy. He's awesome.
Thank you very much. Even if my music is questionable.
I'm going to listen to music too, but as a person, he's awesome.
Oh, thank you. You're all right as well, I guess.
Thanks.
So Leaveview says, not sure if you talked about this in the past, but how did you come up with the idea of combining hip-hop and swing? That's a cool question. So, I mean, it ties in actually to what I was saying right at the start of this screen, which was how I made the decision to get back into music. So I used to rap back when I was like, well, I started when I was about 15. I stopped when I was about 20, and it was very like, well, it wasn't traditional rap. It was still kind of like awkward middle class white boy rap, but there was no swing element. I didn't really even know what swing was back then. It was much more traditional kind of hip hop beats, less traditional hip hop topics, but still like there was no swing element. Then I stopped for basically 10 years, and the only time I ever would rap in between that time in those 10 years would be when I was drunk and I'd be like freestyling to my mates. And there was a French guy that I lived with at the time called Cyril, and he
What's his name?
Cyril.
Nice.
Cyril.
Yeah.
But with a French accent. And he used to call me Big Flo because we'd have the like a freestyle, and he'd be like, "Oh, you have such a massive flow. Go on, offbeat, Ollie, spit your big flow."
I'm not going to comment.
I know it does.
Nice.
Yeah. It's slightly lost in translation, but I know what he meant. And Cyril put on a night at the time called The Bustle, which was like a monthly after work drinks thing, and they had live music. And so Cyril invited me to an electro swing night, which is where the swing comes in. And I had never heard of electro swing before. And I almost didn't go either. That was the mad thing. Like I was this close to not going. And I was like, oh, I can't really be bothered, to be honest. Like, what is it? And Cyril had a really like endearing trait of like not being able to describe genres of music particularly well. So he would be like, oh, electro swing. It is like a poppy, jazzy, hip-hoppy, swingy, dubsteppy, drum and bassy.
Everything.
Literally just named every genre, and I was like, cool. So it's like all every music, basically.
So you had to go and
yeah,
check
and he was
this
like,
out.
yeah, it's awesome, come along. And I was like, oh, fine, right, I will. So I went along, and it was amazing. I like literally fell in love with it. I heard it, and it was like, well, it is how electro swing is. It was like, boom, 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 and I was like, this is fun. And then like the trumpets and all the shit came in, and I was just like, this is amazing. I was like, this sounds so fun and so cartoony and comical and like feel good. I was like, this is the sort of music that like my style of rapping would fit over perfectly, because I want to rap about like funny stuff and like comedic kind of relatable stuff. And like this is the sort of background music I can imagine it going over perfectly. So I was watching it and just thinking all this, and then Cyril was stood next to me, and I'd had a few drinks by this point, and I was like, mate, this is amazing, this is fucking wicked, mate. If you book me for the Bustle in 1 month's time, I'm gonna write enough material that I can perform a set at your night. And he was like, all right, and I was like, sweet. And then I went home.
Pivotal moment.
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. Whilst pissed. Woke up the next morning and I was like, oh, my head. Oh no, I've committed to this thing. I've got to rap in front of a load of people in a month's time. I haven't written any lyrics for 10 years. So I almost was going to call him up and be like, mate, obviously I was drunk. It's off. And then I was like, something just made me go, nah, do you know what?
You'd thrown it out there.
Yeah, I was like, I've committed to it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So I sat down and I was like, right, let's write some bars. Thinking it was going to be really difficult, and then it just came out, just like flew out, and I was just like, I had a really weird like combination of feelings, because it was like on one hand I was like really happy to be doing it again, and I was like, this is amazing, this feels like what I'm supposed to be doing, and on the other hand I was like, I can't believe I've wasted 10 years, like what?
See, again, that thing comes up, doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I know this now, why didn't I know this before? But it's still a process.
Yeah, and I sort of, you know, it's all part of the story that's led to where I am now, so I sort of don't mind. But I also think, fuck, I wasted 10 years, like, you can't get away from that. But yeah, it just flowed out really naturally, and then by the time the gig came around a month later, I was like bang up for it, and I had more than like the half an hour material that I said I'd do. I recorded like a little demo and all this sort of stuff. So that's how I got into it, basically, to answer your question, leave you. I went to an electro swing night, I got drunk, I committed to performing at a gig, and the rest is history. So there you go. And he also says, wait, how old are you? I'm 34 and 3/4, so I'm going to be 35 in June. So there you go. That's it. That is it, I think. That's all the comments we've had. Pretty quiet on the chat front this morning, but fair enough, it's a Saturday, and I don't normally stream on a Saturday, so I didn't know what to expect. I'm grateful for the people who have come. Thank you very much. Please give it up for the wonderful Simi.
Thank you.
I thought you were going to clap yourself then.
I was going to. It's not you.
You can if you want. Yeah, really nice to be able to like introduce a friend to you guys. I think it's the first time I've done it on a stream, certainly for a long time anyway.
Wait,
and
wait,
we're live. This is a stream. But yeah, thank you as well for coming along and
my pleasure. Thank you.
Meeting my music chums. So yeah, big up guys for coming, and I'll be back on Monday evening to start sharing these bonuses with you that I'm going to be giving to the first 70 people who sign up for the album. So yeah, big up guys. We will catch you very soon, and take it easy.
Have a good day.
So you got a little clap from Nugi there. Clap emoji. Awesome. Nice one. Cheers guys. Catch you in a bit.